All right, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Cash monthly membership meeting on Zoom. I'm Jeff Becker. I'm your Cash chair and happy to be with you today. Let me also offer a special welcome to our first-time attendees. And if you are a first-time attendee or new with us here to Cash, feel free to use the chat box and say hello in there. We'd love to know who we have with us here. Make sure that as you do that, you're using that drop-down caret so that you are notifying everyone in the room, including our attendees. And let me also announce that for our attendees, you are muted, but you can use the chat box to ask a question or a comment regarding the presentations. We just ask that we all refrain from any marketing in that chat box. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into our presentations this morning. So first up, we have the Office of Public School Construction. We're joined by Michael Watanabe with OPSC. Michael, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
Of course. Thank you for being here.
All right. Board updates tonight. The State Allocation Board meeting is tonight at 4 p.m. via Zoom. We are in person at the ZIG. If someone doesn't have access and would like to do public comment here, we do have a conference room available for that. EO statements light this month. Basically, the major announcement is we have priority funding apportionments in tonight's board for both the regular normal priority funding apportionments using the general obligation bond sale money from September, as well as the general fund proceeds. We're giving that out in terms of expedited apportionments. In total, we have over $1 billion going out in approvals this month. So we're pretty excited about that. It is a lot of items there you'll see in the action items section. So moving on to those, the first one's the full day kindergarten program. We're continuing to process all those financial hardship requests and ranking the preference points. We're able to get 18 projects tonight's board for $59.4 million. When you look at September and October combined, that still leaves $131 million available for November. So we're going to keep going. Those apps are valid through December. So we're going to process as many as we can. Last I heard, we're hitting projects as low as 28 preference points. So the non-financial hardship projects are being funded now too, and we're going as low as we can to use up all that money to the extent possible. I mentioned this briefly at the Cash conference. We had a lot of people check the yes for financial hardship, even though there's plenty of cash contribution to contribute towards the project, which means you don't qualify for the 40 preference points. It's caused a lot of rework on our side of the office. We've had over 33% of the projects fall off and lose those financial hardship preference points that they asked for. So we've had to keep processing farther down the list that we didn't anticipate it. So that was kind of the large part of the delay. So we're cranking them out. We do recognize for the November board, we are still sending out letters. A lot of districts, you're only getting 7 days or less to respond, but we do appreciate those quick responses so we can process as many as we can. If we don't give out all 131 million that's remaining that was open for this round, we will roll it into the next round though. So it's not gone and it's not lost. We'll just keep going down the new list. And anyone not funded by the November board, you can reapply during the next round as well too. That opens up February 1st. So please keep that in mind. Charter school, we had a lot of residual bond authority in the program. The board opened a round earlier this year. Tonight, we'll give out 13 preliminary apportionments for $142.8 million. Those preliminary apportionments will have four years to get full sets of DSA approved plans to us with an option for a 1-year extension as well. Clarify, Candace, in the chat, the 7 days to respond is for full day kindergarten applications. We're trying to get as many applications we can out for the November board. School facility program projects are still the normal 15-day, 4-day letter process. Priority funding apportionments. We have 265 apportionments going out today for $802 million. You'll see we slimmed down the attachments we normally do for that item to just sum it down to who's getting cash at the end of the day and who isn't on the unfunded list still. We also added an extra column so it's clear who's getting Prop 51 funding versus the general fund proceeds. 125 products are getting general obligation bond proceeds, and then 139 are getting the general fund proceeds. Speaking of expedited apportionments, we will continue those at the November meeting for those that chose the November meeting for when they want to do those. I believe we have about 65 apportionments going out in November tentatively is what's planned for that. So cash will continue to go out the door for that. Status of the regulations for direct apportionments. We do anticipate those being approved by the Office of Administrative Law in the next week or two. We thought it was going to be a little bit earlier. We had to resubmit them for the full grant agreement versus just sections to OAL. They wanted to see the full version, so we had to resubmit it. That was the only change for that. So we're looking at hopefully end of next week, but at the 11th by the latest. You'll see some proposed regulations in tonight's agenda for savings as a result of the Superior Court case with San Bernardino City versus the SAB. So those edits are just to remove regulations that can no longer apply to our program across the entire SFP. So those we're moving on a non-regulatory process, a non-emergency basis after the board approves it tonight. And then the last action item is the options for return of financial hardship savings, again, as a result of the Superior Court case. We're presenting two options for the SAB to determine how to apply the statute of limitations on the period that's applicable to make claims on return of savings. OPSC is recommending the one that benefits school districts most, and that's the 4-year option that result in 29.4 million being returned to 55 projects. That 29.4 does not include additional interest earned on those funds or that would have been earned on those funds. So it will be a little bit higher than net out the door for those. And we'll be sending that cash will go out the door automatically. There's no fund release process for those if the board approves that item. So we're working on that as well. And then Tom's question, Courtney's question on the fit, that was the last thing I was getting to. I'm doing final testing today, actually. So I hope by Monday, I'm still on track to post the fit where it'll be in Excel. We got new direction. We can post it to our website in the Excel version to meet your needs. It will have auto calculations. It will have the ability to insert rows for that. We'll add some instructions on there as well, either on the web page or as part of a guide for that fit. It will be important because the cleanliness tab is optional. It made it a little trickier because if people don't fill out the cleanliness tab, then it affects the rest of the programming. But if they choose to do it, then it also affects the programming. So there's some impacts in the way you fill out the form, but pretty straightforward. And at the end of the day, as long as you're not leaving blanks, it'll all work correctly. But we did add that in there. So again, look for that coming out early next week, and we'll do an email blast to announce that as soon as it's available. So, all right. Let's see, a couple questions in chat. Oh, so the November board meeting, the December board meeting that we normally have the second or first week of December. Right now, that's tentatively scheduled for November 28th at 4 p.m. via Zoom. That's a Monday. We're trying to get all the board members and get a full quorum before some of them turn out. So that's why the earlier board meeting. In anticipation of Thanksgiving holiday, our goal is to get out the agenda for that meeting before Thanksgiving, which is we're targeting the 16th. So we're going to try to get that out early to everybody too before the holidays. All right. Any other questions?
All right, Michael, I think that you picked up the questions in the chat. So thank you for doing that. You're a good self-moderator. Did I hear you correctly that regarding the hardship savings return, that those districts, should the SAB adopt what OPSC is presenting and recommending, that money will come back to them with interest on top of that amount?
That's correct. The amount on that spreadsheet that's in the agenda is the amount the school district paid back and the interest they paid back on the state funds in their accounts. So we will return that principal and interest back to the school district. And on top of that, we'll return interest from the date the funds were returned to us all the way to this October board meeting. So for some districts, that'll actually be quite a bit of interest added on to that as well.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the clarification there. And I know Tom Silva put it in the chat, but I think all of us are appreciative of OPSC's efforts on getting that fit Excel form out there. So thank you for your work on that, and we'll look forward to that email blast coming out soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks again for being with us, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, we have our Cache Legislative Regulatory and Maintenance Network updates. And we've got Ian Padilla with us. Why don't you join me up here on screen, Ian, and we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff. Yeah, I'm going to give my colleague Rebecca is not here today, so I'm going to be giving the update. I'm sorry, I was having some. Yeah, there we go. So I'll give an update. It'll be pretty brief today. In terms of legislation, again, Ms. Curley and I gave a more comprehensive overview and kind of a summary of what happened this year in legislation at the fall conference. So I won't certainly repeat all that, but all that information is available. We did have some success on stopping the plumbing water quality bill, of course, and so we're glad for that. But there is legislation out there, again, on indoor air quality that we're going to follow up on. So more on that. Specifically, and with regard to organization, of course, the Cache Legislative Advisory Committee is really the committee that advises the board on the critical policy issues. And so we're glad that Frank Camarda from the San Juan Unified School District will become our new chair. And we're working with him already and have worked with him already on some of the big ills, the bills, the water bill, other bills. And so we look forward to building capacity for next year in terms of legislation and agency budget and other policy issues. So, but that's all we have for legislation right now. In terms of the cache maintenance network, we have addressing a lot of the issues. You see, it's a big maintenance year. Last few years have been like that. And so we're scheduling our maintenance network workshop probably with other associations on December 1st. And so we'll definitely get more information on that. We're developing the agenda and putting together the speakers. So that should be very good. The other piece is I also want to pile on and thank OPSC, Michael Watanabe and others for working with us on the FIT, trying to get that Excel version, and we appreciate you working with us and really prioritizing that. And certainly once that information comes out from your office, we'll get that out to all the cache communication channels, and a lot of interest in that. So again, thank you very much, OPSC, who really worked with us on that. So that is my the conclusion of my presentation here. But I think, Jeff, if it's all right, I'll just roll into the California for School Facilities. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm going to turn it over to Nancy Chavez Espinosa, and she's going to do the School Energy Coalition update.
Yeah. Thanks, Ian. We'll bring up Nancy, and then we'll come right back to you, Ian.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks. Hi, Nancy.
Hey all, good to be with you. I have a short but sweet update for the School Energy Coalition. You may have heard the California Public Utilities Commission delayed the release of their anticipated new net energy metering 3.0 proposed decision to a date uncertain. We expect that that's going to be after the November election. It's probably pretty helpful to not have another contentious issue ahead of the election. Hopefully, we will see their new proposed decision before the end of the year. That is our hope, that we will see it either later on this fall or pretty soon after the start of the new year. Separately from that, there's a lot going on in terms of potential new resources for schools to either get EV, electric vehicles, electric vehicle infrastructure, or other energy efficiency or carbon neutral resources. So just to let you know what's on our agenda, we are examining the federal infrastructure bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, and Proposition 30 in the event that it should be approved, because all of those we believe could have resources for schools. So stay tuned for workshops in the next few months where we're going to enumerate what those resources are and how to access them. And that's all I have, Jeff.
All right, thank you, Nancy. We're flying through our agenda this morning, so we'll bounce back over to you, Ian, for the California School Facilities update. And maybe, Ian, before you jump into that, I think one of the reasons we're moving quickly through our agenda is because of where we're at in the legislative process. With the new legislature that will be convening after the election, in December, and then we'll see new bills in early 2023. So we're kind of in that lull right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'll kind of follow up and talk about that just a little bit since we do have some time. So, yeah, so now the governor, the legislature has concluded its business for the year, and the governor has taken action or not on all the bills. So that's what we're kind of chasing them down, the ones that are signed. We're seeing what the the implications are for implementation, what agency is going to be the head agency, things like that. But also, of course, and why I mentioned the Legislative Advisory Committee, of course, plans are already going for next year, are already thinking about policy issues that will be significant for school facilities. We've talked a little bit. School safety seems to be one of those, and we're anticipating probably some legislation on that and other pieces. Also, the budget. State budget is being developed for next year. It's really not that far away. January 10th is where we'll see that, and there's a lot of critical pieces in there for the large funding for the school facility program, pieces connected to the budget from last year, things like that. So it's hardly a lull, but it's kind of the legislature concluding its business for the next year and building capacity immediately for the next. So all the agencies are working on that. Department of Finance, all of those pieces. So that's why Rebecca and I, when we did our presentation, kind of concluded with a looking forward piece. What are the issues that we see, and what are then, of course, some of the process issues that we think that we'll face. Of course, the big one is what happens with a push for a 2024 bond, things like that. Looking for someone to sponsor that, all those pieces, all the work that we do with that. So yeah, we're kind of in a transition period in the process between concluding one piece and building capacity for the next. So thank you, Jeff, for allowing me that a little bit of process nerding out. We don't always have time, but I think it's an important one here. So thanks. Quickly on the California school facilities update. There's nothing, of course, huge right now. Congress is in recess. They do have a lot of appropriations bills in front of them, a lot of education appropriations bills. Nancy did a nice setup in terms of that Inflation Relief Act. There's potential significant funding for school facilities there. So I know that SAC, certainly Cash, others are trying to get our arms around that in terms of what are the pieces where schools can access funding for it. But there will certainly be a lot. It's a 1,000-page bill. So again, we're really trying to cull it down to the pieces that are relevant to school facilities and maintenance and capital issues in general. So, and then of course, the CSF will travel back to the Hill on, let me see, November 15th, and this and many of the other issues that that they that they're on point on. They'll be talking to folks, but in particular, the Treasury, Department of Energy, Department of Transportation. Those, we think, all indications show that those are the ones that will be major in terms of distributing some of the what we call the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act. And so folks from CSF will meet with some of those agencies as we learn more about the program. But really, we're still in the implementation process of this. So stay tuned. But we don't have a lot of information now, but there's a lot of funding and energy with the IRA. And so we look forward to deconstructing that. So that's it, Jeff. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot for the updates, Ian. So next up, we have Alan Rising, our vice chair, with an update on the annual conference. And before Alan takes over, I just want to thank everybody that attended the fall conference. That was really a great time together, and appreciate the feedback from everyone. I hope it was beneficial. I know I really enjoyed my time there in Southern California, and right behind that is our annual conference coming up in February. So Alan, why don't you give us an update?
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Thank you. Yeah, we are flying through our agenda. So I was going to start by talking about what I'll characterize as the wildly successful fall conference. If you were there, it was a great opportunity to network and engage. It was wonderful to see so many people back together again, really focusing in on our industry and the work that we do in our industry. So it was great to see that. It was great to partake in some of the new offerings that we're providing, the new professional development opportunities on the first day of the conference. So if you were there, you experienced that. If not, then we challenge you to attend the 44th Annual Conference on School Facilities, February the 22nd through the 24th in Sacramento. It will be held at the Sacramento Safe Credit Union, just as it was last year. Great opportunity, recently renovated facility that really highlights our conference quite well. Reminding folks that our planning committee, I should say, has finalized our education sessions, which will include some additional professional development opportunities for some of those folks to attend and get extra value from the conference. Really look for all that information, including the list of educational sessions in our newly released brochure. We had that at the fall conference, but it's available online if you'd like to look at that. But take a look at that brochure. Registration is open, and you can find information on our CASH website for registering for the event. For today, for those exhibitors and sponsors that are so necessary and valuable to our event, opportunities for exhibitors and sponsorship to register will be open today if it's not already open, for you to become a valuable part of our conference as we move forward. This will be a great event. Just a moment on hotels. We expect a significant increase in attendance, and at this point, most of our hotel blocks are either at or already sold out. So if you have not already secured your hotel reservations, get on our CASH website and take a look. I just looked this morning, and there is still one hotel accepting registrations. We are working to secure some additional blocks in the local hotels to meet that need. But make sure that you don't wait. They are filling up quickly. It very much all indicators are going to look at. We're going to have increased numbers of attendees, and we're really excited about that. So make sure you take a look at that and make your reservations. And we look forward to seeing everyone on February the 22nd through the 24th up here in Sacramento for the 44th annual conference. So please make sure that you attend. It'll be a great opportunity.
I appreciate the update, Alan, and all the hard work of you and the annual conference planning committee and putting that together. I'm sure it's going to be another great conference. I'm really looking forward to that. So thanks again, Alan.
Absolutely.
All right, job exchange and people's choice. So if you in your district or firm have an upcoming RFP or RFQ or an open position, please post that on the CASH website using the professional opportunities job board. You can reach a wide group of professionals in our industry and really reach out and spread the knowledge of the openings and opportunities that your firm or district has. So take advantage of that, please do that. And you can see some of the current opportunities posted there. And so if you could take us to the next slide, please. I think we're wrapping up already. So we're going to get an early holiday gift of a little bit of time this morning. So the slide says the next CASH day is to be determined. And we have determined a date now. This is breaking news that the next CASH day will be on December 7th at the usual time of 11 o'clock. So put that down on your calendars. Again, December 7th is the next CASH day. So that is the latest information with that. And with that, we are very appreciative of all of our members taking the time to join us and be with us and spend a few minutes today hearing from our state agencies and legislative update. Thanks again. Hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you all again in December. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you.